Hi, everyone. Uh, Welcome to Live Synapses, a very, very interesting part of our outreach initiative. And this time we have Papa CJ to come and share some of his experiences as one of he was given the award for Asia's best stand-up comic, as well as in India. The kind of philanthropic work that he's done has been fantastic. He has the Papa CJ Happiness Project, so we want to kind of talk to him about why he started the Papa CJ Happiness Project, some of the brilliant work that has been done, and we are really excited to have him. He's going to join us in the next couple of minutes. I think one of the, before we get into the conversation with Papa CJ, what I want to share is the thought and the heart behind Live Synapses. Live Synapses really started out of a very disturbing fact that there were 94,000 calls registered for child abuse. There was domestic violence has been on the rise, stress, anxiety, depression has been on the rise. And we realized that we wanted to create an integrated space for mental health as well as for wellness. So we've done conversations with 3 young psychologists around child-parent relationship. We've spoken to we've invited a gentleman from Dubai, Yasir Bilgrami, to talk about internal alchemy. We had Riya Krishna, who is a tarot reader, as well as an intuitive movement therapist. And today we are super excited to have Papa CJ join us on this live. So yeah, in another minute, I know he's going to just pop up. So, but in the meantime, I have known Papa CJ from the pre-Papa times, you know, and I've known him for 25 years. Yeah, we're friends. So please pick up the book. Yeah, it talks a little bit about us. I'm really excited because for the ones who have already bought the book, I feature on this book. Yeah, the lesser said, the better. So please, you have to go and pick up the book and read, take a peep into this man's life. And yeah, so Papa CJ, are you there?
I'm totally there, man, but I thought I'd let you sweat it out for a little while.
Yeah. I looked at the time and I was like 5 p.m. and I was like, what else to talk about?
I know you've got it in you to talk for a couple more minutes, man. I know you've got it in you. So here's the thing, right? Wait, I'm coming online in 1 second.
All right.
let me just put some clothes on, just for you, my friend, just for you.
Done.
The book is called Naked, but I don't think your audience wants to see me like that.
It would have been great. Maybe we could have done this session, yeah, with our shirts off.
Don't say that. You know me. I will take mine off.
Yeah.
What's up, brother?
Hi, CJ. Thank you so much, Papa CJ, for being on.
Call me CJ, dude. You can't keep doing Papa CJ for the whole damn.
Okay, I will do CJ. CJ, thanks a lot. Really, this means a lot for us because I think one of the things which is always inspired, you know, and where I've drawn inspiration, and I know you like to laugh at Love and Light. Yeah, doing that for donkey's years, but I think some of the work that you have done with people and really the magnanimity that you have brought in, and I'm not really talking about Papa CJ, the stand-up comedian. I'm talking about the thought with which you have gone. You've gone to colleges in small places, and you have done
that's because the big places don't call me, man.
They will, and yeah, the sky is the limit, and I really believe that. Because, but
what do you mean they will? I was joking, dude. You're supposed to have. Like, hello. Firstly, can I just say how impressed I am that you know words like magnanimity and all. Like,
I had to write it down. I had to write it down. I practiced the syllables as well.
I'm most impressed, my friend.
Yeah.
Now you're showing off that you know the word syllables also too much, man.
I was actually reading. I was actually reading what you had written. Hey, but I have to tell you. So for all those people
You
who
can't spend this whole session just showing off, okay? Now you're telling us you learned how to read as well.
I have 5 minutes of glory. Please allow me.
Well, that's what she said.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, the ones who are watching, this session is going to be about laughter. It's not, it's not any pearls of wisdom. CJ will throw in a few, but it's really.
Don't worry, they're not expecting it, Vikram. You're here, so chill.
but I just want to tell people for all those people who have bought Naked, yeah, there is on page 77 where he describes this guy called Vikram, and he talks about a tennis racket.
Wait, hello, Vikram, hello. Let's not spoil the story. If you're going to tell the story, let's tell the story properly.
And why don't you do that, CJ?
Okay, yeah. Here we go. Oh, by the way, my ebook has just been released all over the world. Yeah. So if you got friends abroad and you like the story, you may want to tell them about it. So here we go. Anyway, focus, story.
All right.
So my father worked for a tea company for 35 years. So all the chai ka baba log, all the tea kids, because our parents used to be in the tea gardens and Assam and stuff, used to come to various cities to study. Delhi was a large part of that. So our company, my dad's company, the company that he worked for, they rented a hostel. And this hostel happened to be 2 doors down from Vikram Badwar's house. Anyway, so I was first year college. Vikram was maybe a couple of years younger. And when Vikram was finishing school, he had this existential crisis as to, what do I do for college? I don't think your class 12 marks weren't exactly off the charts, were they?
They were. I had 79.5%. So,
in which subject? That could have been an average.
No, it was 79.5%.
Yeah, that's not bad actually.
I didn't get through. I had to use the cultural quota to get into a college.
Now you're showing off saying you're cultured also. So anyway, so Vikram comes to the hostel very confused, what do I do with my life kind of thing. So we told him, listen, Vikram, in our country, it's all about this one class 12 certificate. But that's not reflective of who you are. You are such a well-rounded personality. People in our country will not appreciate your talents. So Vikram was like, yeah, that's true. I'm well-rounded. I said, no, we're talking about your personality right now. So anyway, somehow he believed this. So he said, what should I do? We told him, you go abroad. You should go to America. That's where they will appreciate your talent, your personality, your cultural, whatever stuff it is. So he said, yeah. So he goes back to his house, tells his dad, I'm going to America. Dad was like, boss, I'm an army man. Who do you think is going to pay for it? Not your pop. So next day, Vikram comes back to the hostel, with long face. My dad said, that, we can't afford to pay for my education in America. So we told him, Vikram, who needs to pay for your education? You are a genius, dude. You will get 100% scholarship. So Vikram was like, yeah, I'll get 100% scholarship. So he said, listen, all you have to do is ask your pop to pay for the test. The SATs, TOEFL, whatever test, standardized test. So he's like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll get 100% scholarship. So he goes home, tells his pop, boss, I'll get 100% scholarship. All I need to do is pay for the test. Now, of course, Vikram's father knew his capabilities. So he's like, boss, I'm not paying for any of these tests and all of yours. So you can forget it. Again, next day, Vikram comes to the hostel saying, dad said he won't pay for the test. What should I do? Then we told him, yeah, Vikram, your dad bought you a tennis racket for your birthday, right? So it's a brand new tennis racket. Why don't you sell it? You'll get money, you can give the test, yeah. Yeah, good. This poor 16, 17-year-old boy walked into M Block Market in GK1. For 3 hours, he stood there.
In front of Rio Grande. There's a shop called Rio Grande.
Rio Grande was there. For 3 hours, this poor fellow stood there accosting random strangers, telling them, please, can you buy my tennis racket? I want to go to America. Then, nobody was buying the racket. So then I went with him. There was a sports shop at the end of the market called Rio Grande. We went there. This guy looked at this brand new racket. He said, I'll give you 500 rupees. Then I think we said, forget it. And then we came back. But it turns out you were just moving house and you happened to find something.
I found the same tennis racket. I have still not been able to sell it. And I never reached the US to study.
There we go. So that's our history. And I think that was a wonderful story, which is there in the book as well.
Yes, yeah. And there are many more. Some of them are quite unmentionable. So, yeah. But listen, I have a few questions. Yeah. I've often wondered. You're an Oxford graduate. Yeah. How did you land up being a stand-up comedy? And how were you able to convince people back home, like an auntie asked you, ki karte kya ho? It's a joke sunata ho.
Yeah. So this is the strange thing, right? So I'll answer the first question first. How did stand-up happen? So dad, tea planter, took a loan, went to Oxford, did the MBA. Took me 3 years to pay back my loans. But I joined a consulting company in London. And I started work there in the year 2000. Now, this is when that dot-com crash and all that stuff happened. Now, the thing is, I was in a very strange position because I was a 23-year-old MBA. I was the youngest MBA from Oxford University that they've ever had.
Wow.
Now, because I was 23, I wasn't at a consultant level. Now, because I was an MBA, I wasn't at an analyst level as well. So I wasn't, even when I got this job, the company didn't know kind of where to place me. So for 3 years, I was supposedly working from home, but I did nothing, So I wasn't.
It's taken us 25 years to still not figure you out.
No, but, so all those corporate dreams and ambitions that I had that, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to achieve, all of that got crushed.
Yeah.
So after, 4 years of this, I paid back my loans and then I took a sabbatical from work. With a guarantee of my job waiting for me when I came back. And that's when I went to the Edinburgh Festival and I saw these guys doing stand-up. And I just thought it was amazing. I mean, here's a guy on stage. He's got a beer in one hand, a microphone in the other, and he's just having fun. And that's his job. And that's when I thought, boss, I've got to try this, So that's when I started doing it. And of course, I ended up doing 700 shows in the next 3 years.
Wow.
And then moved back to India. Yeah. And exactly like you said, I came back and English stand-up comedy didn't exist at that point, So I started the circuit in Delhi in 2008, 2009. And I remember I would have aunties, saying, Beta, tum kya karte ho? What do you do? I said, Auntie, I'm a comedian. I tell jokes. She said, Beta, even I tell jokes. She's like, what do you do for a living? And the fact is, even now, as comedians, we don't get respect. I mean, if I have a good show today, I will walk off stage, somebody will say, dude, you are a rock star today. Nobody has ever gone to a rock star after a show and said, dude, you are a comedian today, because you will get slapped.
No, it's true. A lot of people, and it's so strange, especially during the lockdown, I think one thing which has helped us keep our sanity is being entertained. And, and we have, we have stand-up to thank for, we have media to thank for, we have all kinds of stuff. Yet when reports come out, they talk about how the entertainment industry is no longer valid. I'm like, boss, agar aap entertainment industry nahi hoga, to aap exist nahi karoge. We will all be like sullen people. I had another question. Tell us a little bit about the thought behind Papa CJ's Happiness Project.
So I'll tell you, I've been doing lots of uncoordinated stuff for many years. I've always been passionate about children and education. And even when I started doing stand-up, me and another Oxford alumnus had set up a charity in the UK called One Child. And our belief was that, even one child matters, every single child matters. And we used to support some kids on the Indo-Bangladesh border in North Bengal, essentially getting them out of child labor and back into the formal schooling system. So even when I wasn't getting paid for shows, I used to perform at these shows and have an A4 sheet of paper saying, listen, if you like my work, please donate towards this cause. I think where the actual formulation of the Happiness Project started was, I lost a huge client project a few years ago, I think maybe 2017.
Okay.
where there was a whole bunch of shows, and I was supposed to do maybe 15 odd colleges more. And suddenly in the middle of that project, it got canned. And surprisingly, I found that I wasn't upset about the fact that I wasn't going to get paid, because it was, almost half a year's income for me, but about the fact that I couldn't go to these colleges and, entertain these kids, and they were looking forward to it. I shouldn't say kids, college is not really kids. And then it occurred to me that if losing this money isn't making so much of a difference to me, then why am I not making an effort for whom this money does make a difference? So that, I think this happened in March. In May, I did a tour. Over 2 weeks, I did 7 shows in 6 cities, and we raised over 45 lakhs, for 10 different charities.
Wow.
In each of these cities, I asked local comedians, friends of mine, saying, come support. So we had, some wonderful people who joined us as well.
Yeah.
So that's where it started. And then, of course, from before, I had been doing other things like, going and performing in hospitals, for doctors, nurses, patients, their carers.
I think that's such a fantastic thing, because, it's also the time where everyone is working hard to earn money, to save, and to be able to do this, to be able to just want to reach out itself.
Yeah.
Out, which is step.
So in fact, there was another one, and the Happiness Project isn't a fixed thing. It's different initiatives that I do. I think it was year before last in November, where I said, in November for the whole month, if you're somebody who's just going through some difficult stuff in their lives and you need someone to talk to, I will give you an hour of my time a day. So I was just meeting people in different cities, in Bangalore, in Delhi, in Bombay. I met somebody at a taxi on the way to the airport. And I straightforward said, listen, I'm not a qualified, mental health professional. I will not offer any advice unless specifically asked. But sometimes people just need to get things off their chest. They need somebody to connect with at a human level.
Yeah.
And it's often easier to talk to a stranger than it is to talk to those who are closest to you.
Sure.
So that was a wonderful experience as well. And then I think it was last year again that, I offered to go into the homes of people who have been unwell for a while, and I was doing hospital rooms, I was doing homes. I remember I did the first ever one of this initiative. I went to the house of a lady who was 80 plus in Noida, had a leg amputated, used to go for dialysis 3 times a week. We had just 6 people. I performed in her bedroom. And when I finished, I said, Auntie, this show is not for free. Every day from today, I want to receive a laughing photograph of yours. 3 days later, her son sends me a message saying, boss, you have increased her lifespan. Now, when I send you her photograph, she wants to look at it first to make sure she's looking nice.
Oh, man, that is so nice. That is so nice.
I think in many ways, I get more out of this initiative than the other people do, because it's the stuff I do around the Happiness Project is far more gratifying than any paid show. Or I remember earlier this year in March in Calcutta, I went to the Hope Foundation's children's home. And we also called some people from an old people's home. Vikram, I cannot tell you that they felt like magic. Especially the interaction between the kids and the elderly was so magical. At the end of that 2.5 hour session, I was drowning in sweat. I've put a video of that also somewhere on the net. There were 11 people who had come from that old people's home. The kids had made a personalized card for each of those people. So they touched each of their feet, gave them a card. And I remember one of the women came to me afterwards and she said, I will remember this day for as long as I am alive. I cannot tell you how special that was.
Matter, these are the small things that matter. And I think, people need to start chasing the smaller victories and smaller moments rather than just the big ones. It actually gets me to a very upsetting topic. Yeah.
Okay.
The World Happiness Report 2020 has just been made public. I got my hands on it. There are 153 countries which were assessed. Our country is at 144. India is at 144. Yeah, कि मतलब 9th आए दूसरी side से.
See, let's be very honest. Nobody in our country cares about that. All we care about is, are we above or below Pakistan?
We are not. Pakistan is at 66.
We
Yeah.
got a problem, dude. We have a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we have a problem.
It's just crazy. So immediately there was this whole conversation which started that how can Pakistan be 66, and because of the economy, this, that, and the other.
Because of drugs. Drugs, no, drugs.
I've seen the meme about the drugs.
I'll be honest, between you and me, I have neither seen the news nor read a newspaper in the last 2.5 months. I am very happy.
No, I hear you. It's been 4 years since I threw my TV out.
Yeah.
I haven't watched television. I stopped subscribing to the newspaper, and I just realized that I found something else for my morning dump, rather than a newspaper and just ads. Yeah.
We didn't need that visual image, Vikram. Thank you.
Well, it was created. So why is it? While I was talking to someone from Germany actually turned around and said that that it is because the state gives a lot of security to the people. That also adds to the happiness quotient. Finland is, for example, got it. Finland is number one, super happy. Yeah. Why are we not happy? Or why is a generic space? Yeah. Why, are we taking ourselves too seriously?
No, I don't. Well, one, as a people, sometimes we do take ourselves far too seriously. I also believe people take comedians far too seriously in our country. I mean, come on, we're telling jokes, man. Take it easy. But from my understanding, what I believe is that happiness is found where three things meet: pleasure, challenge, and meaning.
Pleasure, challenge, and meaning.
Yeah. So pleasure is something that we all seek, right? Challenge, given the state of our lives, it's challenging enough for most people. Now, where do you find meaning? And I think that is a very important aspect. I was reading this book. In fact, it's good it's lying here. I just finished reading this book where you can't see it because I've got this virtual background. There we go. It's called Man's Search for Meaning, right? By Viktor Frankl. And he was a guy who was in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
And he speaks exactly about this. He says there are three areas where meaning comes from. One is from your work, if you're doing something that you believe is important. Secondly, from love. And thirdly, he said from suffering, which is quite interesting. And he says, not avoidable suffering. Suffering for suffering's sake is no goal. But if it's suffering that is unavoidable and you can attach some meaning to it, then that is something that also elevates you. And he talks about exactly this. He says, when we saw the prisoners in these concentration camps, some of them got through and some of them didn't. And the ones who did get through, it was because what was in here, because they had something to live for. There was hope. I remember he gave this one example about, this guy was really upset because his wife had passed away and he was upset all the time. So he asked this gentleman, he says, what if you had passed away before your wife did? And he said it would be absolutely terrible for her. She would be heartbroken. She would really suffer. And then he tells them, well, have you realized that by her going first, or you not going before her, you have saved her from all that pain. And suddenly there was meaning in his suffering. And it didn't bring him down like that. And the other beautiful thing that he talks about is about having a sense of humor, and how humor can get you through so many different things, right from being in a concentration camp. Even there, they found a way to laugh and joke, It
is true.
So humor is extremely powerful, because often if you'll end up in a situation where if you can't laugh at it, you'll literally be crying. So you might as well laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Hey, but I heard you say just before this that, people should not take comedians seriously. We are comedians. Yeah. Would you like to share a couple of incidents where you presented something and somebody's you
No,
know.
it's not so much about me, but listen, today the fact is with social media, everyone has an opinion,
Correct.
right? But just because I happen to be a comedian who tells jokes for a living does not mean I'm necessarily well informed
Hmm.
or that my opinion should be the voice of the nation or whatever. I'm just a guy who's got an opinion like everybody else,
But
you know.
that's because we like to hero worship. Yeah. As a don't you think we like to
But
hero
we're
worship?
not heroes, dude. We're just guys who tell jokes. And and also don't put comedians into one box. You know, every person is a different human being with a different point of view and different things that they value or give importance to. So just because you like one doesn't mean you like the other, and vice versa.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, true, true. But because I find a lot of comedians get into a lot of trouble just because they cracked a joke on something because it has hurt people's sensibilities. And I'm like, what are we so sensitive about? You know, like how many green chilies and red
Yeah.
chilies have we eaten?
Let's not go there. Let's focus on what you want to talk about. We're
Okay.
talking about happy things today.
Yeah, so one of the things which I was asking you was, we are constantly ranking really low in the happiness index.
Yeah.
Um, what can we do to, like, very practical steps, and because for those who don't know, Papa CJ is an executive coach. He's a trained executive coach. So and somewhere obviously you mixed executive coaching as well as a part of the happiness project. But what are some of the things that people can do to not take themselves so seriously, like to just
I,
calm down and have a laugh?
I think often what happens is where we get into trouble is when we start comparing, right? And most people tend to compare their lives with the lives of people who are more fortunate than them, as opposed to the people who are less fortunate than them. You
But
know,
is that because of aspiration? Because one aspires?
you can aspire, but if you're always going to focus on what you don't have, you know, I
Scarcity.
mean, there's a lot of research that shows that, you know, when you give, when people, when time comes for an appraisal at work, right? Uh, the amount of a raise or a bonus that you get is not the key determining factor as to whether that employee is happy or not. What matters to them is whether they got more or less than the person next to them. So, yeah. So often, and we've heard a lot of jokes about this as kids, you know, they say, Sharma ji ka beta, look what his son is doing. Why don't you study more? He got so and so marks, you know.
मेरा बेटा पहले होता था, मेरा बेटा इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल में जाता है या मेरी बेटी इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल में जाती है. It started.
So, so yeah, in fact, one of the advice I give some of my corporate clients is that when you do an appraisal for people, instead of having an annual review every quarter, you do your review of that person on the anniversary of his joining date, right? So he doesn't have somebody next to him to compare it to. कि अच्छा तेरे को कितना मिला, मुझे कितना मिला, you know. So we need to practice gratitude. I think we have tons to be grateful for, and I think the time that we live in right now is bringing that into focus a lot more. You know, suddenly now when we're all locked up in our homes, we're realizing that there is so much that we have to be grateful for or had to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping when things do open up, we can keep that sense of gratitude and not go back to normal.
Hey, how Delhi wale hain? Delhi, have you gone outside? Delhi is bursting with traffic. I was stuck for 45 minutes, boss.
Yeah, but still, I'm saying that is fine, but you can still be grateful the next time you are out in 45 minutes traffic, saying, at least, boss, I'm not in quarantine at home.
Yeah, no.
You know, worrying about whether I'm going to make it through.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. Absolutely true. So एक प्रश्न और था मेरे पास. Yeah. And then we can actually open it out to the audience, and people would like to ask any questions, just type it out on your comment section, and then yeah.
We have an audience also. I thought it's just you and me.
Yeah, well, we are hoping. So
by the way, I've just got to say this out here, guys. Please do like the Life Synapses page. They do some great work. So if you're online while you're there, just click a like on that button.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That really means a lot. One of our goals was to make mental health and wellness approachable, accessible, and affordable. We did not want to charge too much for it. It's a failed business model, but it's a all heart model. Yeah. So that is what is happening. Okay. So एक मेरे पास और
Sounds like your dating life, yeah. It's a failed model, but it's all hard. I'm with you, brother. I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah. One of the things I really enjoyed, and I would really appreciate it if you would like to share this, because I quoted this in one of the workshops that I was conducting. There is a story about your father
Yeah.
in The Naked, where to
Please
be
say in the book Naked. Right now, people are thinking there's a story about your father naked. I do not want to be telling stories about my father naked.
I stand corrected.
Thank you.
There's a story about your father in the book Naked, yeah, where he talks about how.
Oh, wait! Just pause, rewind. I'm going to tell you this, right? I changed the dedication to make it a more decent one at the top. I swear to you, until the nth minute, the dedication I was going to have, which the first thing as you open the book, it was going to say, this book is dedicated to the beautiful brown orbs that are my father's testicles. My journey started there. And I swear it. And there was going to be a line at the bottom of that page which said, many people have asked me whether I asked my dad if I could write this. I did. His response, would you like a photograph to go with it?
Cheers to him. Cheers.
I think I should put that back in the ebook maybe. Yeah.
This one says, this book is dedicated to my wonderful parents. Obviously, you got a helling, CJ, at some point.
No.
Always put my dreams ahead of theirs, even the naughty ones. Oh, Lord.
That is also the censored version, because what I really wanted to write was not just the dry ones. But, I thought, see, I'm quite illiterate, okay? I thought all these well-read people will open the book. If the first thing they see is something like this, they'll shut it and think, well, this is all crap. So I said, maybe I'll behave myself.
Yeah, maybe you should. But hey, would you share the story when your father was in the tea gardens, where he's responsible for sales, and
the housewife story?
Correct.
Ooh,
I've actually spoken about this story, and I read this story out in one of my workshops.
I will send you an invoice. So my dad was responsible for marketing. He used to work for a company called Goodricks in Calcutta. And one of his roles was he had to ensure that all the retailers stocked his brand of tea. So at one point, there was some resistance in the market. There were companies like Tata Tea that had their brands in and stuff. So my dad hired an army of housewives. There were about 50 women who would randomly go to different shops, different times of the day, different times of the week, and ask them, Goodrick ki chai hai? And they said, no, but we don't have Goodrick. Why don't you take Tata Tea? And they would say, no, we don't want this. When you have Goodrick, then we'll come. Now, this kept happening for an entire month. These random women would keep coming to the shopkeeper, in different places. And then they would walk off. And at the end of that month, my father sent his salesman to all of these shops, asking them, would you like to stock Goodrick tea? And there we go.
Everyone said yes.
Yeah.
That is a cool story. I have a similar story. My mother used to sell pickles. She used to make pickles once upon a time, and we used to put them out to DCW at different fates during Diwali. Her job was to make the pickle. My job was to sell the pickles. My father's job was to ensure that we were all suitably drunk. So he would go get a crate of beer and leave it there. And including people from the hostel. So Shahid, you remember? So Shahid was a planted customer. Over there, who every time we see customers coming, I would hand over a bag of full pickle, and he would be like, "Oh, this is so nice! This is so nice!" And then I have sold pickles worth 48,000 rupees in one day.
And you couldn't sell a tennis racket?
And I couldn't sell a damn tennis racket. This sounds
So, ladies and gentlemen, when you do go on Vikram's website and you do read his client references, just take that with a pinch of salt, okay?
I stood outside their building. Great. Great. No, so I just.
By the way, please compliment me on behaving myself.
But I am going to ask you to end this conversation with what you usually end with.
No, because the second you said you stood outside her building, I was like, you stood? That's not what I heard.
True.
It's okay. It was a failed attempt, but all heart.
It's all heart. It's all love and light, and it's all heart. Yeah. So I made the mistake of once sending CJ a message ending with love and light. And it's been, I think, 12 years? Yeah. And CJ has not stopped making sure that I remember that. So.
And Vikram still hasn't found love yet, but maybe light he has. Who knows?
Lots of it. Yeah. So I actually just want to conclude this space and really of questions. Tell us practical things we can do. We are going through a global health crisis. We are going through a lot of stress and anxiety. We are beating up our spouses. Yeah, we are beating our children. And I'm sorry, I'm just saying it.
Vikram, you don't have any legitimate children. Okay, so.
And I do not have a spouse either. But I know many people who are, and they are getting whacked there. So, like, what can we do to keep our control?
Okay, for starters, I am not qualified to answer the question about either parenting or being a spouse because, I don't live with a child or a spouse. But I will say this, and it's the same thing that Viktor Frankl said in his book as well. I'm reasonably sure that we are living under better conditions than he was living under when he was in a concentration camp. We will never have the ability to entirely be able to choose the circumstances we live in.
Yes.
But we will always have the ability to choose how we decide to respond to it and how we decide to think about it. That is your greatest superpower. You can have two people in exactly the same situation. One of them is happy with his or her life and one of them is miserable. And that is here. So you always have to decide. You have that power to choose. You still have a lot to be grateful for. So try and find the positive in your situation. Be grateful for it. And the one thing I find that works really well for me is if you want to feel uplifted, find somebody else who is miserable and uplift them. You will be amazed at the joy you will get from being able to make other people happy. Yeah. So yeah, those would be my tips.
And always attract people who resonate at a higher frequency than you rather than lower frequency, and something we've been harping.
Again, you've got into that whole love and light stuff. This hasn't worked out for you, Vikram. Forget it. This frequency. If you talk layman's language, what is the frequency?
Somebody that you can aspire to. You aspire towards something that you can. For example, like for me, the happiness project was an inspiration.
It just occurred to me I shouldn't possibly be having this conversation with you. I'm kidding, guys. I absolutely love Vikram. He's a great friend. This is why I'm pulling his leg.
Yeah.
And I've got to say this from the kid who is standing in that market trying to sell a tennis racket. What I have been deeply, I won't say impressed, but I feel really happy about and proud of is the fact that he's a wonderful human being. And I'm not just putting this out for the women out there, because we know he has some major deficiencies.
Read out what Please read out what I wrote to say about me.
Yeah. But he's a good guy with a good heart, and he's always trying to help people, and that's a beautiful thing. Enough. That's good enough for your ego. Carry on.
Perfect. Suddenly I can feel myself gloating. But CJ, thank you so much for coming. and spending time talking to us. Really, thanks a lot.
You had me. Thank you so much for coming, but carry on.
Thank you for that too. But hey, thanks a lot. Thank you so much for being a part of this outreach initiative. The whole idea is, hey, let's not take ourselves too seriously. Let's sit and laugh, yeah, and it just makes hard days easier to handle. Yeah, so
Awesome.
yeah,
Thanks,
but
man.
hey, for all those people who have not picked up this book, yeah, please go and pick up this book. It's a fun read. I do not suggest books unless I really resonate with them. They're great stories. Yeah, they're great stories of life from the tea gardens to yeah, CJ's life. But hey, pick it up. It'll give you a perspective.
And just putting it out there, it's a really simple and light read. I mean, if Vikram can read it, anybody can.
It is true. It is true. Yeah.
Love you, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you so much, CJ. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cheers, bro. Take care. Bye.